DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. I want to talk to the athletes out there, the parents of athletes, and anybody out there who's really trying to get on right now playing your sport. And I didn't say this in the last video. I want to make sure I say it. I got a text line. My number's down below. It's 305-384-6894. You can send me a text and tell me what's the best thing that you got from this video, or any insight you got, or anything you're going to think or do different based on what you heard. Again, 305-384-6894 is my text number. But I got to thinking about this because I was doing a boxing workout just today when I'm recording this. And I was talking to my trainer because he was like, he tries to pick up. He shows me how to do certain things, and we're working on stuff. We do it over and over, and then he'll pick up the pace. And he'll start doing it faster and faster, and just yelling stuff out, and I got to react to it. And the faster that he goes, he starts going faster, I'll start messing up. Like, the footwork will be wrong, or I'll throw the wrong punch, or I'll hesitate because I'm thinking about what he said and trying to figure it out. It's not instinctive yet. And one thing that I told him at the end of the workout when we were talking, I said to him, well, the thing is, when the speed picks up, the instincts go away. It's like the fundamentals and all my technique starts to fall apart when you start to add speed to the situation. And he was saying, this is something that he told me a long time ago, and it made a lot of sense, and I want to relate it to what I want to share with y'all. It's something that he told me a long time ago. First time I worked with him was probably like 2 years ago. Now, I'm in my 30s, so it's not like I ain't trying to become no pro boxer. I'm not trying to box anybody or get into a professional fight or none of that stuff. I just want to learn it, and I think it's a fun sport to learn because I hadn't done it before. And he was saying that if he's training somebody, somebody who wants to box for real, he said, I like to work with kids. Like, I got to get them when they're young. I got to get them when they're like 8, 10 years old. I got to get them very young, because at that age, their instincts as far as sports is still so malleable that I can teach them the instincts, and I can ingrain those instincts into their psyche so that they have those instincts in them the rest of their lives, the rest of their athletic careers. But at the same time, conversely, he was explaining, and I'm just paraphrasing, I'm saying it in my words, what he told me, was that he can't train somebody to be a boxer, like a serious boxer, like getting in fights boxing, professional fights boxing, if they're like 21 or 19 or 35. He can't do it because they already have all these other instincts that have already been ingrained in them. And when he tries to overlay the boxing instincts on top of it, it just doesn't work, because they didn't get taught the instincts when their body, their spirit or their mind, for the best way for me to say it, was still open to being conditioned and formed however he wanted to form it. And when I thought about that today, and like what I was going through, when he would add speed to it and I would lose all the stuff that he taught me, I wasn't doing it as quickly. I couldn't do it instinctively. The more speed he added to it, it made sense. And then I think about basketball, and I was saying this to him: when I was playing ball, I knew the techniques, I knew the footwork, I knew the movements, I knew how to pivot, I knew how to do everything. That even if you came at me at quote unquote game speed, like they say, I could still, my fundamentals wouldn't go away. Came at me with game speed, I still knew how to grab a rebound, how to box out, how to clear my space, how to do my moves, how to jab step, everything, even at full game speed against whoever, because I already had the instincts ingrained in me. That's why it matters to get those instincts ingrained in you in the sport, which made me think of several things. Number one, this is why athletes want to get into sports early. This is one of the reasons why you want to get into sports early. There's several reasons. One reason is maybe a parent might just want to get a kid something to do. The kid has a lot of energy, let's get you into sports. Another reason is the earlier you get into it, the earlier, hopefully, presumably, you'll become good, so then maybe you get a scholarship and your parents don't have to pay for college. But here's the other reason that often doesn't get talked about, is that you want to start early so that you can ingrain those instincts, the instincts that come with playing a sport. Like the instincts of in boxing, when a punch gets thrown one way, you know which way to slip, and then you can move, and you got your footwork, and you got your balance, and you know how to throw the counter punch. Same way in basketball, when you catch the ball and the opponent comes running up on you, you know how to reverse pivot and pivot out the way and clear your space and move them out of your way, and be able to get your shot off against the defense. Those are things that you might want to learn when you're 9, 10, 12 years old, rather than trying to learn them when you're 24, because it's not going to be instinctive when you learn them at 24, because you got 24 years of whatever else you learned, even if it wasn't basketball at all, in the way. But when you're 9 or 10, your mind is more open and is a blank slate. So those instincts can be taught to you. So that's another reason why you want to start a sport young. So any of you who's starting a sport late, quote unquote, if you already have some other instincts laid down there, it's going to be harder for you, simply because you don't have the blank slate that a younger athlete would have. And me, you're talking to somebody who didn't start playing basketball until I was 14. So I was kind of in that middle space. I wasn't quite quote unquote old, but at the same time, it wasn't brand new. Now, I played a couple other sports, but I hadn't played anyone seriously enough that I had anything in that open space. So luckily for me, it was still kind of an open space as far as learning the instinct of a sport. When I started playing basketball and I kind of took to it, I was able to pick up on many things on my own. I never had a basketball trainer. Nobody taught me how to play basketball. I pretty much taught myself, but it's the instincts. The point that I really want to drive home with you all here when it comes to playing a sport, and this could be for anything in life, is that you want to make sure you lay down that foundation of instinct from a young age, because it's much easier to build on that foundation of instinct as you get older than it is to create a foundation of instinct when you're already older. Because when you're older, again, whatever you consider to be older, let's say adult on, so let's say 18 to 21 on, by that point, you already have instincts laid down, whatever they may be. It could be helping you, they could be hurting you, could be somewhere in between. But now, if you try to learn something brand new that's new to you, now you got to lay them on top of the instincts that you already have 18 years of or 25 years of already in place. So it's a little bit harder to learn it. Not impossible to learn it, but it's harder to learn it. And if we're talking about something like sports, we know the athletes have a very short shelf life. Like by age 40, pretty much, you ain't becoming somebody in any sport. You're not going to become a boxer at age 40. You're not going to become a basketball player. I'm talking about at the pro level or something at age 40. That's not going to happen. You can learn how to do it, but you're not going to go anywhere and make money doing it or anything like that for the most part by that age. So that's why you want to get to it early. But even if we're talking about something that's not sports, we can talk about something mental. Talk about something like entrepreneurship. So for example, me, I grew up, my parents were, for the most part, employees. They would do, side gigs, and they had, the self-employed things that they would do. For the most part, they were employees, though. And they never, even though they did probably do some entrepreneurial stuff, I remember seeing it, they weren't full-time entrepreneurs. And even if they had been that, they never sat me down and said, all right, this is entrepreneurship. I'm an entrepreneur. Here's how you do it. Here's the basics. Here's the baselines that you need to understand. That wasn't taught to me. What was taught to me was the stuff that makes you an employee. So me, now I'm an entrepreneur. It was more of a challenge for me to learn entrepreneurship because I didn't start learning it until I was like 21, because I had 21 years of everything else in my brain. And when I started looking at entrepreneurship, I said, damn, I want to do that. But now I had to lay it on top of all the employee mentality that I had been taught up to that point. Make sense? So it took me more time. There was a bigger learning curve, a steeper learning curve to learn entrepreneurship because it wasn't a blank slate. My mind was not a blank slate at that point. I had all these years of schooling that was teaching me employment, but it wasn't teaching me entrepreneurship. So I had to do more work. I had to work a little bit harder so I could learn entrepreneurship and unlearn some of the employee stuff that I had been taught. So for those of you who grow up, let's say you have parents who are entrepreneurs, and this is something that I've said, I don't have kids, but if and when I do, I want to teach my kids entrepreneurship from a very young age so that they have a foundation, an instinctive foundation of what entrepreneurship is, and they understand a lot of the baseline things that I had to learn later as an adult. They'll know them by the time they're 15, 16 years old. So then when they get to adulthood, they can add more advanced stuff on top of that, stuff that I might just be getting to now, they'll be getting to when they're 19. So that's why the instincts, laying those instincts from a young age matter a lot, because once it's there, it's there. All right, it's set in their mind. I heard this guy say he was like a religious leader. He might have been like a Christian pastor or something like that. I don't know what religion, but it doesn't matter. But what he was saying was, if you allow me to work with a child up to the age of about 8 years old, I can put in their mind, I can implant any ideas in their mind that you will never be able to root out for the rest of their lives. And the point that he was making was this, that up to that age, a child's mind is so malleable. It's such a blank slate that you can put anything in there and it will stick forever, because that's when it's most open. And the older somebody gets, the less open that mind is and the harder it is to put new ideas in. This is why older people, that's why they say you can't teach the old dog new tricks. It's not 100%, it's a metaphor. It's not 100% literal that, look, when somebody's older, you can be 50 years old and learn something new if you want to. But a lot of times when people get that age, they're stuck in their ways, right? They don't want to learn anything new. So this is why, two things. Number one, you want to start things young. If you have kids or young people around you, or you're a younger person, you want to get those instincts in place and get the right kind of training and understanding so that you can do these things instinctively as you get older. And number two, if you are already, let's say, over the age of 18, you can still learn new things. You just have to constantly, consciously keep your mind open on purpose, because if you just allow it to be as it is, it's going to slowly close up. So you had to be conscious and you had to be purposeful about keeping your mind open to learning new things, even though you may be quote unquote older, as I'm talking about when it comes to this video. There's no age though where you have to stop learning things. It's a choice, but you have to make the choice to keep it open as well. All that being said, if you have not yet gotten your free copy, you haven't pre-ordered your copy of this book, it's called The Third Day. This is my newest book. It's coming out on August 3rd, but you can pre-order it right now, and guess what? The book's free. All you're going to do is tell me where to ship it. Go to thirddaybook.com. The link is down below. I'll ship this book to you. All the books get shipped out on August 3rd. This book is about the decision that separates the pros from the amateurs. This is the choice that you make to deliver your best effort when you least feel like it. Showing up every single day, being consistent. That one day at a time mentality is about discipline. Showing up all the time and giving your best effort all the time. That's what makes you a pro. It is not talent that makes you a pro. You need talent to become a pro. But what keeps you a pro and makes you a pro is being consistent in your talent, consistent in your delivery. That's what this book is about, The Third Day. So send me a text. My number is 305-384-6894. Tell me the best thing you got from this video. Claim your free copy of The Third Day by going to thirddaybook.com. The links to both of those are down below, and work on your game. Third Day. Dre, all